Welcome to Nightmare County. I'm your host, Randall M. Gould, and in this video, we're going to talk about the top 10 ninja movies from the 1980s. The reason why I chose the 80s to talk about ninja movies is because this is the era or the decade that it seemed like ninja movies really blew up. You had ninjas in video games, comic books, anime, and of course the movies. And even though ninjas had filtered throughout cinema up until this point, the 80s is when it really just seemed to blow up, and ninjas seemed like they were in everything. I was obsessed with ninjas when I was a kid, from martial arts, but for some reason ninjas just really grabbed my imagination as a kid. From the what they wore, and of course I know they're in the 80s, they had all kind of colorful costumes that they didn't wear in history or anything, but in the 80s they wore all these kind of costumes that for some reason I wanted to own and wear. I wanted their weapons, I wanted to learn ninjutsu, but I never did, of course. But I enjoyed the movies. They were some of the most random movies that I ever rented whenever I went to the VHS store. If it had a ninja on the cover or it featured ninjas, I rented it. And it also helped that I was a big fan of G.I. Joe, which had Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, and of course Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All these things has helped enthuse my ninja obsession. But in this video, this is not a top 10 list. These are just 10 movies that I picked out of the many ninja flicks from the 80s that I think that you would enjoy. Like I said, this is not a top tier list, it's just 10 movies that I think you would enjoy. Because I could have easily made a list of 15 or 20 other ninja flicks that you would enjoy as well. But these are the 10 that I think that are most accessible, that almost anyone could find and enjoy themselves. So, that being said, let's get into this top 10 ninja list from the 1980s. We're going to start this list off with The Octagon from 1980, directed by Eric Carson, who also directed other notable martial arts action flicks, such as Jean-Claude Van Damme's Lionheart. The flick stars the legendary Chuck Norris in one of his early screen roles, who plays Scott James, a veteran martial arts expert who is recruited to be the protector of the wealthy and beautiful Justine, played by Karen Carson, after she becomes a target of a ninja clan. When Scott finds out that his ruthless arch nemesis McCarn, played by Lee Van Cleef, is the one involved with the stealthy and dangerous criminals, he is eager to settle old scores. Soon Scott is facing off against McCarn and the entire ninja horde in an effort to take them all down. The Octagon is a well-made film and quite enjoyable, and one of Chuck Norris's best films. This film offers up plenty of ninja action. It's a little slow at the beginning, but towards the end it really comes through and offers a great action flick. Up next is The American Ninja from 1985, directed by Sam Furstenberg, who you'll see on this several times, who is a pro at directing high-grade B-action flicks, and especially within the ninja movie genre. This movie stars Michael Dudikoff and the great Steve James, two fun actors who littered the 80s movie landscape. American Ninja is about the explosive art ninjutsu combined with the lethal support of the U.S. Army as they declare war on the unlimited violence of organized crime and the killing force of the Black Star Ninja assassins. One man stands alone against death from all sides in a story of mystery and mysticism. The force of the powerful evil against righteous dedication will have you on the edge of your seats. That is literally the back of the box of American Ninja when I was a kid. I rented this movie so much, and this is actually my first ninja flick that I ever saw. I rented this movie so many times, my dad got sick of it. He could have bought the movie as many times as we rented it. I simply loved American Ninja. All the American Ninja flicks, 1 through 4, are really just fun flicks. You can't really go wrong with any of them. You just have to go in with low expectations and expect some fun B movies. These are the movies also that introduced me to brightly colored uniform ninjas, and I always wanted a yellow ninja costume. I do not know what good a yellow ninja costume would do, but for some reason as a kid I thought that was the most awesome thing, which made it even more awesome when Scorpion came along with Mortal Kombat, and he was yellow. So obviously Scorpion was my favorite Mortal Kombat character. But yeah, American Ninja, you can't really go wrong with. It's just a fun, cheesy time and simply can be enjoyed by everybody. The ninjas here do not disappoint. Next we have Enter the Ninja from 1981. This is the move that really kick-started the ninja craze of the 1980s. Even though Octagon came out prior to this, it was this movie that really launched the ninja craze in the Americas, the United States. This movie was directed by Golan, who was one of the people at Canon, and they were known for pumping out a lot of action flicks. This movie stars Franco Nero and the soon-to-be well-known Sho Kosugi, a favorite actor of mine. Cole, played by Franco Nero, is a former American military operative who's just finished his training in ninjutsu in Japan. He heads to the Philippines to visit an old army buddy, Alex Courtney, and his seductive wife, Susan George, who are living on the large property targeted by a wealthy CEO, Charles Venarius, played by Christopher George, for oil drilling. When Cole fights off his stooges, Venarius recruits Cole's old ninjutsu school rival, the vicious Hasagawa, played by Sho Kosugi, leading to an explosive showdown. Enter the Ninja offers up a lot of ninja action and mayhem. While not the best of the Canon Films ninja trilogy, which we'll soon talk about later on, it is the first and still the most notable for bringing the ninjas to the American public, which would become a popular mainstay to not only movies but comics, cartoons, and video games. Revenge of the Ninja from 1983. Another ninja flick directed by Sam Furstenberg, this time starring Sho Kosugi in the main character role. After ninjas kill his family, Cho, played by Kosugi, and his son Kane become to America to start a new life. He opens a doll shop but is unwillingly importing heroin within the dolls. When his friend betrays him, Cho must prepare for the ultimate battle. In his first starring role, Sho Kosugi showcases his acting ability, charisma, and martial arts abilities. Revenge of the Ninja is an 80s action fan's dream. Ninjas, gangsters, and mayhem. What is better than that? It's also of note that Kosugi handled action choreography for most of his movies throughout the 80s, like he did in this flick. The rooftop showdown within this film is worth the price of admission alone. This is also the second movie of the Canon Ninja trilogy. Up next, Duel to the Death from 1983, directed by Ching Su-tong. When China's finest swordsman goes off to duel with Japan's greatest swordsman, only one will survive, but when ninjas arrive to attack, the duel gets even deadlier. While ninjas are not in the main character roles, they are all over the place in this flick. The movie is incredibly imaginative with how the ninjas attack, with a forward sequence ranking as one of the craziest, if not one of the most fun ever caught on film. The movie is well written and expertly choreographed, and totally worth checking out, as it plays out totally different than what you would expect. If you have a chance, find this flick and give it a good watch. 5 Element Ninjas from 1982, directed by the godfather of Hong Kong cinema, Chong Che, and starring one member of the Venom Mob, Lo Mei. This flick is another Che classic. 5 Element Ninjas is about a Chinese martial arts school that is infiltrated and destroyed by ninjas. When one of the students survives the massacre, he seeks to uncover the trickery of ninjutsu in order to beat the 5 Element Ninjas and avenge his family. 5 Element Ninjas is a great pick for fans of martial art movies as well as fans of Shaw Brothers' catalog of flicks. As usual, Che delivers the goods with a film that's colorful and full of action. It's also of note this is a film that is not to be taken seriously, as it is purely a popcorn flick and totally enjoyable. Next up is Ninja and the Dragon's Den from 1982, directed by Corey Hune, starring Conan Lee and Hiroyuki Sanada. Two rival warriors, a Japanese master of ninjutsu and a Chinese kung fu expert, are forced to work together after their master has been killed by a dangerous enemy. This is a favorite flick of mine with a fun story, great action sequences, humor, and a great theme song. The fight choreography is fantastic as well as the stunts. If you want a martial arts flick that has it all, this one will gladly fit the bill. Cyberninja from 1988, directed by Kieta. This movie was also produced by Namco, the video game company. The movie is about a mercenary and a being that is half man, half machine who storm an evil overlord's fortress to save a captive princess. Of all the flicks on this list, this will be the hardest one to come by, but lucky for me as a kid during the VHS era, I was able to watch this several times. It's also of note, this is one of the first video game to screen adaptations way before Super Mario Bros. It's a fun film for sure, with really one of the coolest ninjas ever to be put to screen, and rightfully deserves a resurrection. So if you can find it, give it a watch. You'll totally enjoy it. Next, Ninja 3, The Domination from 1984. Here we have the end of the canon's ninja trilogy and a horror action hybrid, directed yet again by Sam Furstenberg. This time it's a movie about a woman with ESP and an interest in Japanese culture who is possessed by the spirit of an evil ninja warrior. Starring Lucinda Dickey, whom is possessed in the main role, with Sho Kosugi co-starring as the ninja hunting the entity for being responsible for killing his clan. Like all of Kosugi's films that have reached cult status, and rightfully so, this is simply another good time to be had. With a campy story, slight horror elements, and good action sequences, the film simply will have you smiling and entertained. And last but not least, Miami Connection from 1987. Miami Connection was directed by Richard Park and was independently produced in a passion project for martial artist Y.K. Kim, who also wrote it, produced it, and starred in it. While it was initially a box office failure, it would go unseen for years until Drafthouse Films found it, restored it, and re-released it in 2012. It was met this time with a bigger audience that simply loved it, as well as the pop rock soundtrack. A true cult classic in every sense of the term. Miami Connection is about a martial arts rock band that goes up against a band of motorcycle ninjas who have tightened their grip on Florida's drug trade. Miami Connection is cheesy in the best of ways. It is incredibly infectious that offers a fun ride. If there's one move that should help in inspiring future filmmakers to get out there and make a movie, it's this one. The story behind its recent success is the stuff of dreams. Check this movie out. Really, you can't go wrong with any of these flicks. And Sho Kosugi's got even more flicks from the 80s that are totally enjoyable, like Black Eagle, Pray for Death, and 9 Deaths of the Ninja. There are just so many ninjas from the 80s. There's a fun time to be had, and I think they're all really worth seeking out. Even some of the bad ones are worth watching. And I'm going to say it now. I'll probably end up doing a top 10 worst ninja flicks from the 1980s, because there are quite a few. You can find some of the bad ones on Tubi TV, and they'll make you laugh because of how bad they are. But the movies on this list, I think, that are most accessible, and they kind of cover a good range of flicks, from sci-fi, horror, and just straight up action movies. I will say Cyberninja will be the hardest one for you to find. I was lucky to have watched it when I was a kid. It is pretty pricey, like on VHS nowadays. It needs a updated release. I wish there would be a Blu-ray company. I wish they put it out on Blu-ray here in America for us to watch. But that being said, you can still find it. It's just you're gonna pay a good price for it. Miami Connection gets a bad rep, and it is. You can tell that Y.K. Kim, he put a lot of effort and passion into Miami Connection, and it really just bleeds through the screen and will infect you. It made me want to make a martial arts flick like right away. It's just a fun movie. Yes, it's a bit cheesy. It's got a great pop rock soundtrack, but it is literally just a fun movie to be had. And it's better. All these flicks are better to be seen with friends, as they'll offer a more enjoyment and everything. You can't go wrong with any of the Sho Kosugi's ninja flicks that I've listed here. Can't go wrong with Chuck Norris and the Octagon. That's simply the choreography in that movie is really good, especially towards the end. But these movies would influence comic books, video games, and so much more. And I'm really thankful for that, because I really loved ninja flicks. In fact, if you go to my Instagram or Facebook, I will have a picture posted of me and my brothers when we were kids, when we were dressed up in but like ninjas. Of course, we're not really just like ninjas. We had ninja clothing like all the time, and it was awesome. It was one of the great things about the 80s and everything. And the ninjas kind of died down or saturated by the end of the 80s or 90s and everything. But the 90s still offered a few good ninja flicks that I will probably talk about, or I'll probably list like on my Instagram or my Facebook. And but the 90s, it kind of dried out. In the 2000s, it was kind of hit and miss. You had like a Ninja Assassin, and then you had a lot of the great Steve Atkins ninja flicks, the two that he put out and everything. But of course you had Mortal Kombat, you know, just recently come back out with Sonata, who starred in the new one as well, who I mentioned earlier, Ninja in the Dragon's Den. Ninjas are just either great villains or great heroes to have in flicks, or just great to have in the background doing stuff. I love ninjas so much as a kid that even the people who know me, my friends, know that usually ninjas are like the first thing that I'm willing to bring up when I come talking about comic books or movies or video games. My favorite video game, actually, with ninjas was Shinobi. I never had it on NES or anything, but I played it at the arcade or a local grocery store all the time. And man, did I suck at that game. I put so many quarters into that thing, but it had such a cool sequence in it that I absolutely love. We were throwing cards at ninjas that are coming onto the screen while waiting for the next stage to load. It's a bonus round. But I love Shinobi, Ninja Gaiden, Zen, the Intergalactic Ninja. I loved all of that stuff. And in the comic books, you had Ninjak, of course Daredevil, and you fought the Hand with Elektra, and of course Wolverine dealt a lot with the ninjas and stuff and samurais and everything. And I was so absorbed with all that stuff, and I wanted to be a ninja like so bad when I was a kid. But you know, let's be realistic. And I got books on the culture and history of ninjas and samurais and stuff. I mean, it fueled my interest in history and everything, and everything has to do with pop culture as well. And I think ninjas are bound for a comeback. I mean, why not, right? I mean, I don't know why there isn't the ninja video games like Shinobi or Ninja Gaiden would make such great movies. I mean, they're pretty straightforward action fare for the video games and everything. You could pull it off in a movie. I think. I mean, just write it well. But that being said, I mean, Ninja was a lot of fun for me as a kid growing up, and I still enjoy them to this day. Like I said, Storm Shadow is one of my favorite ninjas of all time, followed by Snake Eyes. But I watched G.I. Joe. I read the comic books. I mean, of course, in the comic books, Storm Shadow is more better written and everything. It wasn't the cartoon and everything. But and recently you got the new movies with Snake Eyes and everything. So ninjas are still there. They're just not as big as they should be, I think. Especially it'd be good to get away from like superhero movies and such, and then just really focus on the ninja aspect of some other stuff and everything. I think people would enjoy that. I mean, I would. But or just have more ninjas in superhero movies or something. I don't know. But yeah, from video games, I mean the comic books, man, I love ninjas, still do. I write, still draw ninjas when I'm bored and everything. Write about them. I always write stories, filter them in. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this list. I hope you enjoyed ninjas as well, so you enjoy this list of movies even better. If you haven't seen any of these, I hope I've pointed you in a direction to go and find some that you would enjoy. And you just sit around. If you do get to watch them, you have a good time watching them. And if you want to, you can comment below or find me on Instagram or Facebook for Nightmare County, and you can tell me your favorite ninja flick, or we can talk about what my favorite ninja flick is. I'm not going to say it here, but because it's really hard for me to choose out of any of the ones I've listed. But more likely, it's going to probably be one starring Sho Kosugi, because I enjoyed seeing him in movies. And when he starred and played the villain in Ninja Assassin, I totally loved it. I was probably the only person in the audience that was excited that Sho Kosugi was in a newer ninja flick when Ninja Assassin came out years ago. But that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, hit that like button, as I greatly appreciate it, and give me a follow. As I said before, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook under Nightmare County, and you can hit me up and we'll talk about whatever. That being said, I want to thank you. Hope you enjoyed the video. And don't be a stranger, and tune in.